Alright, so this is what I was thinking about the other day, and I think I want to bring this point up to get people to have an understanding of a certain way of seeing things. So, conversion. Converting your martial arts, I was thinking about converting religions. So, this is a big thing out there where people that are Christian or a certain religion, they might go to another country or another city, and they're trying to convert people. So you might have Jehovah's Witness that might go to people's homes, knock on the doors to try to convert them to their religion. You might have these Christian missionaries that are trying to convert people from different countries, different. Basically, they want to increase their population. They want to increase their population size. As they increase their membership and their population size, they they gain more power. So if more people in the world are practicing a certain religion, they get more powerful, and that's their motivation. So say Muslims, or people that practice Islam. Say you got somebody who's Christian, and then there's somebody that practices Islam, and then he converts this Christian to become Islam, to practice Islam. Um, Say you got a Christian missionary go over to somebody who might be practicing Buddhism, and then convert that Buddhist into a Christian. So that's what's happening a lot. Basically, fighting over power. You know, uh, we want you to become a part of our group. Now, you could say, some people might say, oh, this gang, that gang, that's more of a negative thing. But if we don't look at it like that, hey, this group and that group. And then there's the people who are like, I'm not part of any of these groups, um, but I see truth in certain aspects of these expressions. But I'm not a Buddhist, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, I'm not a Muslim. I'm heading towards truth. So there's those types of people, but then there's the people that actually join an organization, and then they might switch organizations, switch groups, and that is what people might call conversion. So looking in the context of the martial arts, it's similar, and that's what I'm trying to grasp a hold of what's going on, to explain what's going on, and also express my ideas and how this can be fixed. So the problem is that people, especially with this prevalent so-called MMA that they call it, basically cage fighting, so-called mixed martial arts, you got people that are claiming a lot of different things. Somebody be like, well, I practice a little jiu-jitsu, I practice a little judo, I practice a little karate, I practice some Wing Chun, I practice some boxing, I practice some kickboxing, I practice some Thai boxing, I practice some Krav Maga, I practice some Aikido. I mean, it's endless, the amount of labels that people want to take in to say that, oh, I've had a little bit of this and that. But, people are basically identifying with certain labels based on their preference, based on what's popular in the market, based on the type of attention that they might receive from the people around them. Basically, egoistic and narcissistic tendencies of which, they want to bring more attention to themselves, make it appear as if they're more qualified in teaching than they really are. So the problem that I see is, somebody might say, hey, he might practice Taekwondo, or say Chuck Norris's case, practice Tang Soo Do, but then not that many people know what it is, and then later on he goes ahead and opens up a school and markets it as karate. But karate is a Japanese art, Tang Soo Do is a Korean art, but then he changed the label so quick, so easy, just for marketing purposes. A boxer could immediately just jump into a cage and now he's claiming MMA. A kickboxer, goes in the boxing ring, now he's claiming boxing. A boxer goes into a Thailand tournament, now all of a sudden he's claiming Muay Thai. People are just jumping from one style to another style one representing one label, next thing you know they're representing something else, and that's the problem. It's just, it makes everything false when everybody's just jumping ship into all these different labels. Like, what are you? Like, what are you truly representing? Who are you? So you got white people claiming karate a Japanese martial art, but they're not even Japanese. You got Chinese people that might say that they're practicing Muay Thai, and then they're not Thai. You got Hispanics that are claiming Taekwondo, but they're not Korean. So you got all these different people of different races claiming these different styles from different countries, but they're not even originating from that country. They're not even, their ancestors aren't even from that country. And that's the dilemma that I see. Because if anybody could claim anything, then where is the regulation in any of this? If anybody could claim Tai Chi no matter what race you are, no matter how much experience you have, no matter if you're beginner or advanced, like, who's gonna stop somebody from saying that they're a master of Tai Chi? Who's gonna stop somebody from saying they're a master of Taekwondo, a master of karate, a master of Muay Thai, a master of any of these arts? Who is gonna step in and to say otherwise? Especially when it comes to an art and not a sport. A sport, somebody could say, "Oh, I'm a master of basketball," but then they're not in the NBA. So if you're a master, then how come you're not in the NBA? Somebody could say, "Oh, I'm a master of boxing," but then you never competed. You never win the Golden Gloves. You never been to the Olympics. You never even fought professionally. So how are you a master boxer? Like, sports, the frauds could be identified more easily because it's a sport. It's a competitive thing, and you can't say that you're a master of football, but then you're not even in the NFL. You never even made it to the high school team. You never even made it to the college team. So why are you claiming something that you don't deserve to claim? Mike Tyson proved himself in boxing, and he has proof and evidence. There's videos out there. You can see, hey, this guy was a former heavyweight champion. He's a former master of that craft. Basketball, Michael Jordan, former master of that craft, of that sport, winning 6 championships, 6 rings. It's all documented. The evidence is there. But when it comes to arts, like, who can dictate and determine who's a master of what and what art? Somebody that's not Chinese claiming that he's a master of Kung Fu, a master of Wushu, but he's not even Chinese. Well, how is he representing the Chinese martial arts? Because the Chinese martial arts is for the Chinese. That's why they call it the Chinese martial arts. I'm not opposed to people practicing the martial arts regardless of race. I'm just saying that we should be consistent in what we're representing as far as the labels that we choose to use. If you're an American, don't say that you're Chinese. If you're Japanese, don't say that you're Thai. If you're Filipino, don't say that you're Korean. Be accurate with the labels that you choose to use. I think that's the primary thing, and that's what I want to bring up about the conversion, is that you can't convert a person's race. You might be able to say that, oh, this person converted from Christianity to Buddhism, or Buddhism to Christianity. But you might be able to say that, oh, this person, converted from Islam, to Catholicism. But people can say that they're converting religions, but then there's so much corruption there. But when it comes to race, you can't just convert a race. So a Chinese person that's living in America, you can't just say, hey, we converted him to white now. You look at him, you know that he's not white. You know that he's not Caucasian. You know that this person is Chinese descent. You can't convert that. A black person can't convert to white. You see him, you know that he's not white. A white person can't convert to black. You see the person, you know that person's not black. Like, the race is something that's consistent. So what I'm saying is that we should use the race as a way of identifying the martial art of which we're expressing. If you're Chinese then you are representing the Chinese martial arts if you practice the martial arts. Because this is now a Chinese expression, because you are Chinese and you have expressed the techniques of the martial arts according to who you are. So now it is in a Chinese martial art expression. Bruce Lee's martial art expression, the Jeet Kune Do, is actually a Chinese American martial art, because he was both. He was Chinese and he was American. So it was a Chinese American martial art. You know, Chuck Norris, his expression is an American martial art. You know, it's not even karate. It's not even Tang Soo Do. It's not Korean. It's not Japanese. It's an American martial art. You know, and that's the way that I see that it should be, in order to make it so then it's more clear. So you can't have, like, you know, a Caucasian person running around saying he's teaching Chinese martial arts, or a Caucasian running around saying that he's teaching the Japanese martial arts. You're not Japanese, you're not Chinese, you're Caucasian, so you're teaching the American martial arts. Be accurate with what you're describing to the people. Now, if this Caucasian person is under the authority of a Chinese martial arts master, say, you know, this Caucasian person is learning from Jet Li, who's Chinese, learning from Jet Li's martial arts, Jet Li's wushu, and then he's learning from Jet Li, and then Jet Li says, hey, you know, Caucasian person, you can pass on my art under my authority. Then Jet Li is, you know, is the one who's letting everybody know that this Caucasian person is a representative of his wushu. So then this Caucasian person can claim Jet Li's wushu or the Chinese martial arts under the authority of Jet Li. But if you take away the authority of Jet Li, who is the Chinese person, the Chinese martial arts master, then you just have this Caucasian person. He cannot claim the Chinese martial arts because he's not Chinese, and he's not under the authority of a Chinese martial arts master. And that makes it legitimate. And it's got to be a living expression, a living relationship. You know, Jet Li can't be dead. Jet Li's got to be alive to basically give you the authority to represent his martial art, his Chinese martial art expression, his Chinese wushu. He's got to be living to give you that authority to do that as a Caucasian person. But if you have no authority over you, there's nobody above you of Asian descent, if there's no Korean person, no Japanese person, no Chinese person over you, and you are the authority yourself, then you should be claiming your own martial art according to your descent, where you came from. Keanu Reeves might have 1/8 of him is Chinese, and the rest is Caucasian and so, or whatever. I mean, can he get away with claiming Chinese American martial arts? You know, he has 1/8 of it in his bloodline, and that could be tracked down and proved. You know, it's kind of pushing it. But I mean, you know, we're coming in an age where there is more diversity. America's known to be called a melting pot, but at the same time, because of that, it's creating like a lot of confusion into keeping certain cultures, certain arts, and certain expressions pure. You know, we can't mix in our American expression of ego and narcissism and just materialism and corruption and the abuse of power into their arts and then claim it to be the same thing. It's no longer the same, because we have effectively corrupted it through our narcissism, our love for power. You know, and it's just like, as a Caucasian person or as a non-Asian person, can you finally surrender and submit to the authority of an Asian person and let that person be your master? Let that person be your boss. Let that person be your guide. Not just for now, not just for short term, not just for a few weeks or a few months or a few years, but for your whole life. Can you accept, you know, an Asian person to be your master for life? And most Americans cannot accept that. They might accept it for a few weeks, a few months, but they're not going to accept it for life. Then they come You know, they want to get the reputation of that label and start claiming that label. Say, oh, you know, I teach karate even though I'm not Japanese, or I teach kung fu even though I'm not Chinese. But if you want the reputation of that label, then you need to surrender to that Chinese martial art master, or that Japanese martial art master. You need to surrender to that person, not just for now, but for life. And are you willing to do that? You know, in most cases, the American is not. And that's why they do not deserve to claim these Eastern labels and these titles. You can't have a non Chinese person going out there saying that he's a Sifu. He teaches Kung Fu, he teaches Wing Chun, he teaches Jeet Kune Do. He's not even Chinese. He never got into the authority of any, never got the authority from any of these Chinese martial art masters to even claim any of these titles or labels. And that's the problem that I see. You know, people picking and choosing, cherry picking what they want. You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, I'll teach you Krav Maga, I'll teach you Aikido, I'll teach you Taekwondo, I'll teach you Muay Thai, I'll teach you Kung Fu. It doesn't work like that. You know, because each art in itself is a lifetime study. And you got to dedicate your life to each art. So you either dedicate it to Kung Fu, you dedicate it to karate, you dedicate it to Muay Thai, you dedicate it to, you know, Taekwondo. You decide which you want to dedicate your life to. But once you decide to dedicate it to that art, you can only represent that one art. Because that art in itself is a lifetime of study. Even in the sports, you cannot say, nobody could claim that they're a master, not even Michael Jordan. Not even Michael Jordan can claim himself to be a master of basketball, a master of football, a master of boxing, a master of kickboxing, a master of hockey, a master of golf, a master of baseball. He cannot claim himself to be a master of everything. He can only be a master of one. You know, and even with the MMA, I mean, you know, like, even Conor McGregor can't be a master in boxing. It's not the same thing as the cage fighting. Even Floyd Mayweather can't be a master to cage fighting, because that's not the same thing as boxing. It's a little similar, but it's not the same thing. You know, that's the thing. You know, you can only claim yourself to be a master of one. So you need to choose what you want to represent, and then represent it to the fullest. You know, that's the true way that I see that the martial arts needs to be expressed. You know, you got to be true to who you are, and express the martial arts according to who you are. But if it's not going to be who you are, then you got to be under some master in which to get his authority to represent the art that he wishes to share to the world.